Hello, thank you for joining me today. If you're on this early, give me a hashtag replay, and I'm just going to give it a couple seconds and have some small talk with you guys while we wait for people to jump on live. I always appreciate those of you who do the replay. I understand, I know what it's like. We just don't have a lot of time on our hands. So that being said, I do appreciate the time that you do take to watch these videos that I create. Yesterday, I told you guys a little bit about the mission I'm on and why I do what I do and why I provide so much free content for you. I really do. Between my podcast and these videos and this Facebook page and my YouTube channel, I do provide a lot of free content, because of the passion I have for the ECE world. And like I told you yesterday, I'm on a mission to change 10,000 centers, owners, directors, which will trickle down to 100,000 people. That is my goal. If I could just help 10,000 centers find the success that I have found and just release that heartache that comes with being a struggling owner or a director. Again, my name is Evelyn Knight. I am the CEO and founder of Child Care Business Professionals, which is a company that helps owners and directors find success while maintaining high quality standards. I also the host of the Child Care Business Coach podcast, and I'm a child care center owner myself. I've owned several centers and I've done every job in the field pretty much. So I have that relatability. I know what it's like to be an owner during COVID. I'm an owner during COVID. So I'm not going to waste your time with that. I know your time is very valuable and I want to honor that. So we will just get in. I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about why and my passion, because I believe as ECE leaders, our ultimate mission is for the children. On Monday, I told you guys what my vision and what our superpower is. Our superpower is the high quality standards. And it's because I believe that all children, regardless of where they live, what their upbringing is, every child deserves to be in a high quality research-based center. That is just what I am most passionate about. And so by bringing this content to you, I am fulfilling that mission in life. I am fulfilling what I need to do. I'm also an owner myself who was really struggling. And yesterday I told you guys a story of one of my favorite babies who I didn't finish this story. I told you guys, if you missed it yesterday, I told you the story of the time that I wanted to give up and I wanted to quit. There was a couple times, but this was the big time. This was the time where I had family telling me it's time. My husband was telling me he was pretty much done with my center. And he basically had told me, we're done. I'm done. Leave me out of it. This is your decision to move on. And my mom and everybody basically had told me, you need to give up at this point. But I knew God was calling me and telling me, no, you need to be here. I knew it in my heart, but all the voices around me were telling me so much that I started doubting. I really started doubting, and I really did think it's time for me to shut down. It's time. And I'm sorry, you guys. I get so emotional telling these stories because it was just one of the hardest periods in my life. But it was so much coming at me. And I told you guys a story about how the baby was brought to me, but there's more to it than that. There's so much was happening at that time through my life that it was a very lonely and hard time. But I knew I was where I needed to be. And now, of course, here I am almost 10 years later, and it's so clear on why. You know, God uses so much in our lives, and we don't really understand and know why. But then you can look back and see, oh, this is what it was meant for. God put me through a lot of this so I could help you, so I could help bring the things that I've learned. How did I turn my center from this struggling center? There was a time where I had an eviction notice on my center's door. I was struggling so hard. I can tell you guys, in a 1 month period, I went through this period where it was just a nightmare for us. My bank had made this huge mistake on my account. They were rolling out this new system, and they actually had put a return all status. I was actually going on vacation. My husband won a trip through his work. We were going on this 10-day amazing vacation. So I went to my bank and told them I'm going on vacation. So they put this status that no bank transactions were supposed to go through my bank while I was on vacation. Well, during that time, I had a payroll go out and I had a lot of bills go out, and the bank rejected every single one. every single one. I had 30, I think it was 36, it was somewhere in the 30s rejected. So now the bank is charging me like bounce check fees and all of the stuff. And I have an entire staff whose checks were returned. And I was mortified. I had a mass exodus at that time. About 50% of them knew I was struggling as it is. I was struggling. And so they assumed that it was the financial struggles. And they didn't even give me a chance to explain that. I don't think they were going to hear it at that point anyway, but they assumed it was the financial struggles. So they left. They thought my center was done. I even had an employee go to my competitor and tell her that she should come check it out because I was probably going out of business. That's how close I came to losing my center. I had an eviction notice on my door. And that's when all of this combined was just coming at me. It was just such a hard time in my life that I thought it was time. Like, I can't do this anymore. All of this. And I was alone. I had nobody there for me. My family was against me. I didn't know how much I could talk to my employees. And I really don't like the wording I just used there. It's not that my family was against me. They saw the struggle. They saw how much I was struggling, and they didn't like it. They didn't like to see the situation I was in. And so they thought, you've got all these degrees, go get a job. I could have made a very healthy 6-figure income had I just shut down my center and gone to get a job. It would have been a lot less stress and pressure. And I know a lot of you owners out there can relate. We're writing these checks and a lot of times we're broke, right? We're putting our money in. We're doing all this work. You're at the center 50, 60 hours a week and you got nothing. Not only do you have no money coming in, but you're paying to keep your doors open, right? I know that so many of you can relate to that. So many of you, and I've been there. So that's when I had that epiphany moment, and I talked about yesterday. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch yesterday's video. And I had a mini breakdown in my car that day. And when that happened, it just was like, okay, God, this is where you want me. You better show me. I just don't know. I can't do this anymore by myself. And, that's where we're supposed to let go, let God. Well, that's when I decided to let go. And that's when I also decided I needed some help. That's when I met my business coach. And somebody referred me to her. So I decided, and it's funny because I put this meeting off for probably 6 months, but I knew something was really lacking. And at the time, I blamed everything around me. I blamed the economy. I blamed parents can't afford me. I blamed the city I lived in. I blamed the neighborhood. I blamed the location that my center was in. I blamed competition. I had a lot of blame, but no accountability at that time. So I finally listened to the suggestions I had gotten from some of my professional colleagues and decided to talk to this business coach. I went and met with her, and a lot of what she was saying made a lot of sense. And she basically showed me that, and she told me that day, she's like, many business owners, you're not business people. You have a passion, you create a business based on your passion, but you don't understand business. You don't know how to run a business. And she told me that is the missing link. That is why you're not successful. And she basically told me that day, you need to go through your bank account. She gave me just a simple task, cut 10%. And then we talked about contracting with her. And I was literally heading for bankruptcy. Did not think it would be possible. And her bill was pretty hefty. It's double what I charge my clients. I'll tell you guys that right now. And, but I looked at it and thought, you know what? I have nothing to lose at this point. I'm going to lose my center anyway. I'm losing my mind. I work nonstop. I have no life left. My center owns my life, right? I'm always there. My family isn't seeing me as much as they should. My bank account is empty. What do I have to lose? And I basically figured this is my last try. I'm going to do this. And if it doesn't work, I'm done. So I hired her. I hired my business coach, and it changed my life. It really did, which is why I became a business coach for childcare centers. One of the things I found in the field is there's not a whole lot of business coaches that are specific and know our industry. So I basically went on a journey at that point to learn how to be a business person in the childcare setting. And I basically just learned everything I could. I took what she taught me, started reading business books, started taking courses, just did a ton of research on how to change my mindset to think like a business person. Also how to see things differently. The accounting, I knew how to run a household finances just fine, but I had no clue that business finance and household finance are two completely different animals, totally different things. So if you're running your childcare center like you would your household finance, you're doing it wrong. But back to the point, I just knew, like, I learned so much. And what I got from hiring a business coach, I decided I wanted to bring to the ECE world. And that's where I started my business, Childcare Business Professionals. I basically decided that I wanted to be that person who could come in and help other childcare owners to get the success that I found by learning how to become a good business owner. So that is basically why I do what I do now. And there's so much that went through that journey and so much heartache. So if you are one of those owners, or if you're a director too, that's really just struggling to get your staff in line, you see that turnover constantly, you're working yourself to death, message me, email me. My email is on the screen there. Let me know. I would love to help. I know I've been in your shoes, you guys. I have spent plenty nights just crying myself to sleep because I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm sorry, I get emotional just thinking about it. It was such a hard time in my life. And even though I have the control now, and even though it's not like that anymore, it's still, that pain from being a struggling owner is still very real, and it's still there. And I know exactly what you guys feel like because I was there. So I know if you're that lonely owner who just feels like things are just falling apart, and I know it's a very lonely place to be. So reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you guys. I get it. I was there. I know how you feel. I know that just how heavy it is. And that is why I created this business, so I can help other owners that are in the position I was in. If I can just help one owner not have that suffering, I would absolutely, it's all worth it. Just to help that one owner not to feel what I felt during that time. So I'm going to move past that. And I'm sorry, I get so emotional. It was just such a hard time. I get so emotional thinking about it, talking about it, but it's important that I do. It is really important because that is the mission I'm on. I want to help 10,000 owners and directors out there just not have to go through what I went through. Or if you are there, I want to help you just get out of that situation, because it doesn't have to be that way. You guys, all those things that you're telling yourself, it doesn't have to be that way. So today, though, to get back on track, is probably going to be one of the most important lessons in this series. In this series, I would say this is the most important day to watch. And it is the follow-up. And you guys, please, Beth, I see that you're there. Hello. Leave a comment, give StreamYard permission so I can see your comments. But I love the interaction. It does get lonely on this side of the camera. So today we're going to talk about follow-up. And I'm going to start by telling you guys the reason that follow-up is so important is because according to statistics, only 3% of childcare centers, 3%, are actually following up after the tour. That means that after you do a tour and those parents leave your doors, nobody else is contacting them. They're just letting them go. So it's really important to come up with a follow-up plan. And I'll tell you guys, one of the main reasons it's so important to come up with a follow-up plan is because it takes a person 6 months on average to make a big decision, like putting their child in childcare. So a lot of times we as childcare owners and directors think in terms of this person who is looking for care today and right now. But what we don't understand is 80% of your client, the people that you tour, are going to wait 6 months before they actually enroll. Okay, so they're not choosing, we assume, oh, they just went with a different center, but that is not necessarily the case. Putting your child in childcare is a very big and hard decision for parents. We are so used to it. We're in the field. We're so used to enrolling kids that we forget that for that one family, this is a huge decision that did not come lightly. And you think of infants that start, right? We get them at 6 weeks and the parent, you're like, well, they just had their baby, so it didn't take them 6 months. What you don't really understand is they've been thinking about that for 9 months. They've been thinking about that their whole pregnancy. They didn't just come to this decision to put their child in childcare. They've had 9 months to think about going back to work, putting their child in daycare, doing, they don't just wake up after having the baby and say, okay, I better start shopping for childcare. They've been thinking about this through the entire pregnancy. So if you really keep that in perspective, that it takes 6 months for a family to really decide to just bite the bullet and take the dive, then if you're not following up, you're losing all of those clients, right? And there are some who are desperate, absolutely. There are some who actually really do need the care, but 80% of the people that you talk to are actually choosing to go with family instead. They're not putting their children in childcare. And it takes 6 months before they'll actually decide to come to your center. So, because it is a huge life-altering decision. And we forget about that very often. So I want you to really think about that, right? And only 20% of children in the United States are actually in childcare. So when you think there's too much competition, or you're thinking that, there's just not enough kids, the parents can't afford it, that is an absolute fallacy. There are plenty of children for all of us. You don't need to worry about your competition. There's more than enough children for all of us. The problem is that only 20% of families are actually putting their children in childcare. And that's because the general public is very uneducated on what quality care can do for their child. So if you have a good follow-up plan, it's going to continue educating the parent on your program. It's going to make them feel more at ease. And it's going to make them 6 months, even a year maybe from then, have that, like, maybe I should just put my child in this childcare, right? When parents are taking their kids to family can be very unreliable, right? Or even just a friend, right? Or even just the babysitter down the street. And I don't mean any licensed childcare providers are awesome. The in-home providers are amazing and awesome, and I have tons of respect. I started out as a home provider, and I honestly think sometimes it was harder than having a center of 100 children. So I have a ton of respect for home providers, and I actually refer to them often. But the babysitter down the street is a little bit different, right? And that's where, somebody who just is sitting their kids in front of TV, you're just paying them to come over and watch your kids. The children aren't getting any kind of education out of that. They may be getting love and nurtured, but how are they growing developmentally, right? Those are the kind of things we need to educate these families on, that if you really want what's best for your child, they're going to be in my program. That is what your follow-up campaign needs to really emphasize, okay? That grandma, putting your child in front of the TV all day long to watch whatever is the trendy cartoon of the day is not great for your child. They are not getting, and I can go on for hours. That is one of my biggest soapboxes on why screen time is so horrible for children under the age of 5, but we're not going to go there right now. So educating the families, really helping them to understand what is your value. There's also that monetary, right? What is the value that you're bringing to the children? Why is it more valuable and better for these families to bring their child to you and maybe pay an extra $150 a week, right? Than giving grandma some extra money to watch their child. Why is that worth it? When you think about what a parent pays for their car, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I really want you to change your mindset on your pricing. I know childcare is expensive. It is, but it is worth every dime, right? We are worth it, you guys. What we bring to a child's life, if you have a high quality program, there's some that are not worth it, I have to say. If you don't have a quality program that is not research-based, you really need to look at this. But if you have a research-based, high quality program, then what you're bringing to the family is worth every single dime. Look at some of the cars out there. What are people paying for their cars? Those car payments are getting to the point where they are more expensive than a monthly childcare bill. Cars come and go. A parent might buy their car now, 5-6 years from now, that car is gone out of their life forever. The development that is going on in their child's brain at a high quality child care center is with that child for the rest of that child's life, right? So when you start having that mindset that, oh, but it's so expensive, parents might not, maybe I shouldn't charge more, maybe you are absolutely worth it. And you need to get that out of your head. Okay. If car companies are selling cars that cost more than mortgages, that cost more than your monthly payment, then you really need to get that out of your head, because the value you bring to that child's life is going to be with them for the rest of their life. We are building the foundation for the rest of these children's lives, right? They may not remember us when they're grown-ups, but you have a lasting impression forever. So you're worth it. But you need to know that, and you need to help educate the parents on the fact that you're worth it. And that's what you're going to do with your follow-up plan. So with my follow-up plan, what we do is after the tour, you want to make sure that you call the family within 24 hours. The next day, just want to call and say, hi, this is Evelyn from Zooming Around. I just wanted to thank you so much for coming in to tour my facility. And I was just wondering if you had any questions. You know, after you toured, I know that you can go home and then you're going to think of 100 other things. What kind of questions do you have for me? So take that time to talk with the parent. Let them know that you're open, you want to hear from them. Even if you have a wait list, okay, you still want to keep those lines of communication. You still want to keep that value, your quality, right? Your professional persona. That's all part of this, okay? So within 24 hours, you want to make that phone call. Just make that phone call, thanking them for coming in, answering any questions, just going over things with them. 1 week later, we mail a postcard. So you want to mail a postcard, just thank you for stopping in. We really appreciate it. It can be a pre-printed postcard, right? It doesn't have to be something that is, it can be pre-printed. And then you want to make sure, if you guys don't have a CRM, you want to have something that is following up, and don't overthink it. I don't think you guys need to go out and buy some kind of program, even though I have to say something like Kangaroo Time is awesome, because Kangaroo Time will build in a lot of this for you. ProCare has a wait list. All of that you want to be utilizing. If you have Kangaroo Time or ProCare, that is basically something you want to make sure that you're utilizing the wait list, right? And even if you don't have a wait list, you can use it as a CRM program, which is basically, and you guys, I can't remember what CRM acronym stands for, but I can tell you guys what it is. A CRM is basically a database that you're keeping in order to have potential clients, right? That you're keeping them in your database, so that if you have these clients that could be future clients, they're staying in your database so that they stay in your field, right? So you can, oh, Beth has a question for me. So Beth, I currently use ProCare, but I love the people at Kangaroo Time. So we are talking about switching over to Kangaroo Time. I just love the company. I love what they believe in. So I am looking for my childcare center on switching over, but I do currently have ProCare, even though we're probably going to be switching over by the end of summer. So basically, you want to keep these people in your radar. It's so very important. And remember, 3%, that's it. That's all that's doing this. So you guys, and if you have a small center and you don't have a program, use an Excel spreadsheet. Just make sure when you do an Excel spreadsheet that you're really organizing it. Make sure you have the date, the age, and that you're keeping up with the age, because age just changes, right? They change. So just somehow you want to keep track of the data. So basically make sure you're gathering the data. So you should have a visitor sign-in sheet that's asking for the name, address, phone number, child's name, and age, right? So that's basically where you really want to just keep up. So again, a week after, mail a postcard. Within 1 month, mail a letter, have a newsletter that goes out, right? And you don't have to send monthly newsletters out to all of them, because after a couple of years, when you'll see what I mean when I tell you, you'll have a huge, and if you want to, more power to you. But you'll end up having a huge database by the time if you use my entire program. So you want that follow-up though. And what you want to do is make sure that you're providing value to the families, right? So if you're gathering email addresses, you don't have to necessarily snail mail or paper mail something. You can do an email, right? But I do highly suggest every now and then sending some kind of mail communication. Emails are getting so bogged down, and it's very easy to skip past your emails. It's very easy to just go in people's spam boxes, right? So even though email is a great tool, and I say absolutely utilize it, don't make that your only line of communication, because the emails filters just make it really difficult right now. So every now and then, even if it's once a year, make sure you're staying in their radar, right? So basically, when you're sending them those follow-up newsletter emails, and every month you are going to do at least one, right? May not be to your entire list, but you're going to send it to some portions of your list. It might be the people who toured in the last 1 month, might be people who toured 3 months ago. You are going to decide what the best algorithms for you are, right? You can do your entire list in a month. Email makes that easy. Paper mail makes it a little bit harder. But make sure that you have something organized, so that maybe it's every 90 days that you're mailing something to their homes, maybe every 6 months, maybe a year. The way we do, I like to do it is, it's pretty much depending on how long they've been on their wait list and how long ago they've toured. We keep people in our database for 5 years. And I know that seems excessive, but what I really want you to think about is when this person brings their child in, they come in for a tour, they probably will have more children, right? So even though they may be touring their 3-year-old today, 5 years from now, how do you know they haven't had more, right? So keeping on, and their life changes. They may, the mom might have decided to be a stay-at-home mom, but now here she is, 4 years later, she's on her 3rd child, and she really wants to get back to work. So you staying in her radar, that's when she's like, you know what, this place, I remember this place. So keeping them in your database for 5 years is a pretty good idea. We just need to really be future focused. One of the biggest issues I see for people who are trying to enroll is you look at your enrollment today, right? And then you get to these numbers and then they dwindle. And you're always like on this, like, oh my gosh, I need to enroll again. Oh my gosh, this should be never ending, you guys. All of these things I teach you, I don't care. I have a wait list of 300 children, and we still keep all of this up, because if I don't, that wait list will soon go away. Children grow up, right? Families grow up, and I'll have to start over again. So just every year we graduate kids that leave and then you've got to fill so many spots every year, right? And also those children on my wait list are going to age out eventually. And some of the families aren't going to have more children, or their families might have more children, but eventually they're going to stop, right? So this is a never-ending process, all of this. And if you keep on doing this, you're going to have this great database of people constantly that you're marketing to, right? And the other thing you need to remember is that they have friends. So even though, let's say they don't have another child and you're still marketing them 5 years later, if they have something, a postcard, whatever in the mail from you, it's easy enough for them to, have a friend who just had a child, they need childcare. It's like, hey, the center is mailing, here you go, here's a postcard from them, right? So word of mouth is huge. That is a big piece of this puzzle. So you guys want to really remember also to just be educating, marketing. You want to be providing some kind of value. I don't want to see these newsletters you're mailing out just be an advertisement. You want to basically come from a place of service. How are you serving these families, right? How are you educating them? How are you helping them? So making sure that whatever you're sending these families is a valuable tool that they can use. Maybe what we like to do is, if I write a blog, I have blog posts, and I have, you guys, I know it sounds like a lot, but after years of doing this, you're going to have so many, you'll just be able to pull resources. You'll just won't really have to create so much anymore as just pulling resources, right? So basically think in terms of just what are families really struggling with, right? Put a quick snippet article in your newsletter or whatever you're mailing to families on, are you struggling with bedtime? Give them some tips and tricks, right? Put some fun activities. Are you struggling with screen time? Here are some fun games that you can play with your family, children. Different things like that. It can be anything, but make it valuable. It shouldn't just be about selling. You want to provide value. One of my life philosophies and this business, childcare business professionals at my childcare center, is that I always need to come from a place of service first. If I serve my communities, I know it will come back to me, right? So like, why do I do these videos? I am serving my community. And I get plenty of you guys who message me and just decide to be my members, right? So if I come from a place of service and I give, I will get back. But when you're just trying to take and take and take and sell and sell and sell, people don't like that, and they're not going to want to work with you. So that's where I'm saying, like, make sure that whatever you do, if it's an email newsletter, a paper newsletter, that you're really making sure that you're adding value to these families' lives. That way they'll want to keep them, right? They will keep your newsletters and create a portfolio, because basically it's helping them. It's something that's very helpful. So what I want you to do, and if you guys get your homework out, right, and I have it in the workbook that I provided for you guys. Again, if you guys don't have a workbook, comment in the videos, send me a message. If you need the workbook, messaging me is the best way to get it, because then I can make sure that you get your workbook. I could just message you a reply with the workbook attached. But if you don't have Messenger, just comment and we will get you a workbook. You can comment with your email address, or I can message you with the workbook, whatever works out for you. But in the workbook for the follow-up plan, I do have it laid out for you to help you create a follow-up plan. What materials are you going to use? Also, how are you going to follow up with the employee after 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, annually, right? And how long will you keep family data? So make sure that you go through and fill out the workbook. The workbook, I told you guys these videos are coming down on Tuesday, but the workbook is something, the notes that you'll have that you can use in the future. So make sure you've got that notebook, or the workbook, sorry, So the last thing I want to touch on today is branding of your center, right? And I do courses on branding. Branding is a huge subject. I know Beth is watching, and Beth does some great things on branding. Oh, Beth, that is an awesome. So Beth actually is suggesting Trello. Trello is it is actually a great resource that is free that you can use as your CRM. So keeping track, and then also with Trello, it does like timelines. So it can really help remind you to stay in contact with those families. And I know, Beth, you teach on Trello, which is awesome, like how to use it. So that is something to look into too, you guys. That's a great resource also. And I'm sorry, got stuff in my way on my dashboard here. So branding, what I want you guys to think about, and we talked a little bit about this, but I didn't really specifically tell you guys that this is like the culture and the brand of your center. What I want you to do is really think about, how do you want people to feel when they talk about, when your childcare center's name is mentioned in conversation? What kind of feeling do you guys want? What do you want people to feel? This is the best way I like to think about it. I always think about, okay, if there's two moms at a soccer game, right? Their kids are playing soccer together, and one of the moms says, gosh, I really need to get my child in childcare, and your center name comes up in conversation. What do you want them to start talking about? How do you want your center to be presented? How do you want these parents to feel about it, right? That is the brand that you're creating. We all have a culture in our centers. We all have a brand, whether we like it or not. If you have not intentionally been in control of your center's brand and your center's culture, you may not like what it is. So what you really want to do is really intentionally start looking at every aspect of your center. It's going to come out in this follow-up plan. It's going to be in your tour packet that we talked about Wednesday. It's going to be on your website, right? Your social media pages. All of that is going to really start reflecting your center's brand. It's going to be how your teachers, how do you do your new hire training to make sure that the teachers are reflecting your brand. Your brand is so very important, and everything needs to coordinate and be a part of that brand. So any kind of advertising you do, all of it should have a theme going through it. It should all have that same feeling. And that's really how I want you guys to think about it, is how do you want people to feel, right? How do you want, really just think about that emotion, those emotional responses that you want from people. If those moms, again, are on the soccer field talking about your center, do you want them to just be like, oh, I've heard that place is amazing. They've got such an, I would love to get my child in there, right? Is that the kind of feeling you want? Or do you want that, ooh, I've heard some, not, you don't want to touch that place. Or, oh, that's just a daycare. You don't want your child in daycare. What kind of feelings do you want people to have when they talk about your center? And while you're thinking about that, that is what you're going to use when you create all of your documents, right? Your tour, everything, right? All of this. And that's where you want that human emotional. Raul and I were talking, what day was he on with me? Tuesday, I think it was. So the second video, I brought on my marketing agent, and he was basically telling you guys about creating that human experience, right? Well, you need to dictate based on your superpower, what we talked about on Monday, that human experience you want to create. You need to dictate, what is it going to feel like? What is it going to look like, right? And you want to really make sure that you are orchestrating that. If that is something you need help with, again, contact me. This is something I really work with through my membership. I work with a lot of different centers, helping them create that brand. We do it from beginning to end, right? We will create that brand. Will help you to understand, like if you're really, really struggling too on understanding, what is my superpower? I don't even know. I don't know what my values are. I walk you through all of that. I have resources to help you figure that out. I walk you through all of that. I help you create that brand. I also help you create the new hire training that will help your staff understand your brand and stay true to it. My new hire training packet is a 6-month long program. I talked to you guys a little bit about that, so I won't talk too much more about it, but I also help you just create that hierarchy within your center. So last thing I want to talk to you guys about too is I do have a seminar coming on June 17th, and it's basically where I will be helping you guys create your organizational chart within your childcare center, help you get more formalized to free up some of your time. It's really that hierarchy, right? If you do sign up to be a member with me, this week before it's Tuesday of next week, then you will get that training for free. You will automatically be enrolled for free. So if that's something you're interested in, is my organizational chart training on how to create and organize your center, job descriptions. So basically we're going to go throughout the day, and I'm going to teach you, first of all, what is an organization chart, right? Why do you need it? Why do you need to have an organization? Then we're going to create the job descriptions. Right? How do you, and it's really just organizing your staff, you guys. It's all that really is, which I know it's kind of foreign to our field, but it's organizing your staff so that everybody understands what their specific job is. It also helps them to understand what you as the owner and director, what your job is and what is not your job. It is not your job to go hunt down glue. I'll tell you that right now. If your staff is coming to you and saying, we're out of glue, we're out of paint, I can't find the paper plates, that is not your job. If you think about it, as an owner or a director, you should be paid like $30, $40 an hour, right? Would you pay somebody $30 an hour to go around your building hunting down toilet paper? That is way below your pay grade, right? So an organizational chart will help. And I know that's a very simplistic, it gets a lot more complicated than that, but it's the easiest way I could think to make it relatable to you guys. But it'll help your staff understand, who do you go to? How, and it'll help you to create somebody to go to, right? So that you don't have these time-wasting tasks on your plate. So many owners and directors, you guys are staying after hours, you're working on the weekends because you don't have your center organized. You don't have a hierarchy of employees. So everybody comes to you, right? For every little thing. And if you're that director or owner who everybody has to come to you because they can't do anything without you, then you need this one-day training that I'm doing. So it's basically going to be an entire day. We're going to put your organizational chart together. We're going to create the job descriptions for it, and we're going to create the training and the staff meeting that goes with it, so that by the time you're done with this training, you will have your entire organizational chart completed. It'll be ready to implement. And I can guarantee you guys, it will save you so much time. I did this with my director, and basically I did this naturally for myself. And so it wasn't so hard, but then I noticed that my director was really struggling because everybody, and when I would come in, I just couldn't believe some of the things that they were coming to her for. And I talked to one employee, like, you've been with me for 10 years. You would have never come to me for these kind of things, right? I was like, well, you're the owner. I'm like, so she's the director. I'm not paying her, when I pay her to go find toilet paper in the building. I'm not paying her to go see if this poster should be here or here, right? She makes way too much to waste her time going to see where a poster should be hung on the wall. So basically, with this, with the organizational chart, I will help your staff to understand, when is it appropriate to come to the director? When is it appropriate to come to the owner, right? That's what we're basically looking at. So if that is something you're interested in, that is going to be free to my members. I will also be selling, you can actually also enroll in this training program, but that is like, gosh, probably not even a 10th of what my membership has to offer. It's probably not even a 5th, to be honest. The other thing too is tickets for my conference are going on sale. It is all ready to go. So we are going to have our first Childcare Business Summit conference in October. It's October 22nd through the 25th. And basically, we've been surveying you guys for a while, and what we found is that a couple things. We found that you guys want a business conference that isn't trying to sell you something, that you're just learning, and it's just business practices, not the teacher stuff, the business stuff, right? So we're going to be doing our conference. The other thing we found is that you guys really want to have fun. So we are going to be incorporating fun into the learning. Thursday and Friday, we're going to be doing a lot of learning. In the evenings, we're going to have fun. It's in Reno, Nevada. So I live very close to Reno. It's a great place to have fun. But on Saturday, we're taking you guys up to Lake Tahoe. That is going to be a really fun experience for you guys. So Saturday is just going to be a fun day where we go up to Lake Tahoe. And for those of you who stick around on Sunday, I'm actually going to bring you up to my childcare center, Zoo and Around, that I talk about all the time, so you guys can tour it. So let me know if you guys are ready for that, and if you're ready to purchase your tickets. Tickets actually do go on sale today, so I'm super excited. And we are making it very small. So we are limiting it to 60 people. So it is going to be a first come, first served basis. And we do actually have a promotional price going on right now. So let me know. You probably will start seeing it advertised next week. But if you want to jump on the bandwagon before that, just let me know. So I hope everybody has a great rest of their week and a wonderful holiday weekend. I will be here Monday morning, even though it's a holiday. I did schedule anyway, forgetting it was a holiday. So I will see you guys. And again, message me if you guys want information, any more information on what we talked about today, or if you have any questions.